All right, hello and welcome to a hot, steaming, exciting, fresh new episode of Video Ditch. I am Nick, as always. My typical co-hosts Sam and Jake are not here. No one knows where they are. They have disappeared into the aether. But in the interim, we do have our beloved temporary co-host RACCOONS, who's those of you may remember from the guest/bootleg episode we put out a little while ago. And more importantly than either of us, we have with us the beautiful, amazing, spectacular, independent developer, Squishy, aka Squishy, aka Cameron, developer of the indie game Away From Home. You can see right here. I hope I'm pointing the right direction.
It's a pleasure to be here.
Great to have you. So, how are you guys doing? Everything going all right? Excited, scared, cold, hot, anything?
Yeah, I'm doing fantastic. Just been working all day and night on the project.
Nice.
That art is like a serious undertaking for sure. When I started on the project, I was like, oh, why do people never make really good pixel art? Why is it always like this 16 by 16 or 32 by 32? And yeah, I had a rude awakening working on this project. But by the time I realized it was dumb that I did that and made it really, really detailed, I was already like 30% into it. It was like, do I scrap it all now or do I, you know?
Yeah, are your wrists all right, man? That's a
No, I have over 10,000 hours on a sprite. That's like a portion of my lifespan. Like I sometimes wonder how the creator of a sprite feels. There's people who are like living on his program. It's kind of just a wild thought. Yeah.
It's a beautiful thing. It's one of my top 10 games, I think, in just hours played, just because I use like MS Paint.
Yeah.
But yeah, well, no, but you've done with it. Your animations, your sprites are quite a bit above what I'm capable of. They're really fantastic. So, I understand. I'm sure it's a lot of suffering and, maybe a little bit of carpal tunnel, but I think it's all worth it. It looks really good.
Thank you.
more than that, the animations of the game are just
Yeah.
stellar.
I've never seen such fluidity with sprites outside of maybe like Metal Slug.
Oh, thank you. It's cool because yeah, Metal Slug was one of the like things I focused on. Like that they do this
Mm,
sub-pixeling is what it's called. It's like a very rarely used method because it's expensive to do. But it lets you create this effect like you can't normally animate a character to breathe in pixel art, but with sub-pixeling you can. So it lets you do like half movements, and if you do enough of them, it just looks fluent. But
Where you shift the pixel up like halfway.
yeah, that's what it
mm.
is. Well, what you do is you create this illusion, so you can't have half a pixel. So how you do it is, I'll like if I had a two black pixels next to each other, and I wanted to shift one up, right? I'd put one of them up and put a gray pixel in between the two.
Right.
And then on the next frame, I'd have the bottom black pixel move up into the gray one, and then it'd be two black ones. So it's kind of like this blur effect in a weird sense.
Yeah, kind of like a smear frame.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like smear framing a palette is how you kind of create that effect.
I mean, it looks great. It's really impressive. The smoothness of your animations are really something you should be proud of.
Thank you. I can't wait for this is actually one of the things I feel like that I wasn't even supposed to put the Kickstarter out yet. I just wanted to make the last stretch of development easy, but I guess I got to do it the hard way. Um, but this last had I put out the entire version of the game on that Kickstarter, there's no doubt it would have blown up. The final first off, not even any of the best animations or events or any of that was even in that portion I put out. And the final battle of this release is completely animated in like 60 frames per second. It even has like quick time events similar to Metal Gear Revengeance, where it's just
Oh man,
absolutely full detailed, full bodied like character art punching each other and fighting and stuff.
I can only imagine.
Yeah,
But
it'll be crazy. It should be ready in like 4 months, maybe even sooner.
hey,
So
I'll be there.
just yeah, it just means I gotta self fund it, which is risky. So yeah.
Now,
Yeah.
for our dear listeners, what is Away from Home?
Yes. Thank you,
Yes,
Raccoons.
that's a great idea. Away from Home is a pixel rhythm RPG. Imagine Undertale, Earthbound, Final Fantasy, but it's
But
Timothy.
good.
Yeah, but good. Well, yeah, it's actually it's funny you say that because I never did an interview before when I was at PAX West. And this person, the first interview I ever do, he's like, "What's your hottest video game take?" And I said, I said Temmie Ching's art in Undertale is not good, and that was like that was like a nail in the coffin already. And I was like, oh crap! After I said that,
Like sacrilege.
That's how you know
yeah.
it's a hot take, though.
It's
Well,
true.
exactly. Well, he felt the need. The guy that interviewed me, he wasn't even like particularly, he was interviewing a ton of devs, right? It's not like he
Mm.
particularly, I was special or anything in that sense, but he came back to my booth just to tell me that my take was the hottest take in the entire convention.
Oh yeah, because you can imagine everyone else just like, I think Final Fantasy 1 is a little slow.
Yeah, well, that's what's going to happen is when that clip resurfaces, it's going to be the end of my career.
Ah, don't
So,
worry about it. You know,
yeah,
Y2K is able to go strong, you'll be fine.
yeah.
So rhythm-based, pixel-based, RPG-based, everything. So it sounds like you've got a lot of influences that kind of came together to make Away from Home.
Yeah, there's an idea that's somewhat it's not scrapped, but it's not going to be in this version of the game. Uh, you ever play Rhythm Heaven Fever or
I
hear of
love
it?
Rhythm
That's
Heaven.
Yes.
one of my favorite games of all time.
Yes.
Really? So what's great about that is originally, and we have some of the art for it, and we're gonna have like an abandoned file we might like have as like I don't know a tier or something in the future. I don't know, but I have so much abandoned work. And in that, we had like Rhythm Heaven mini games that would happen in middle of the battles, like when an enemy does a special attack.
Listen, man,
So
you
there's
gotta
special.
unscrap that.
Well, we are the problem is we had to stop doing it. So we're gonna unscrap it in after this part's release. We're gonna bring that back. In the final battle, we kept one though, just because the final battle of it is actually very different from the rest of the game. We actually went with what we originally wanted to do in that. So all these battles, although very cool and whatnot, they're actually like half the budget and costs of what we wanted, like
Mhm.
what we want to do, and we can't do them all because of expenses. But the final battle, we made sure to make it how the battles are supposed to be. So down the line, if people really like it, I'll be like, I can tell people, yeah, every single battle in the game, the next part's gonna be
Yeah.
like that battle.
You remember your favorite thing? It's all like that.
Yeah, yeah.
As it stands, though, the battle system is more like an orthodox rhythm game, where the beats will come in to the center, and you have to tap on the beat if you want to attack, if you want to block, or do a special move or use an item, all with the arrow keys.
Yeah. Which it's interesting because one idea we pitched, and this isn't we don't know what we're doing here yet, but one idea I've been back and forth with people about is I originally didn't even plan for this to be a rhythm game. Originally, I wanted it to be real-time turn-based combat, right? So the problem with turn-based combat is your game freezes for you to go make your next decision, and it's like you'll do one attack and then have to wait and then do another attack. And I like the idea of real-time combat where you're just exchanging blows in the moment and have to react
Mhm.
fast to that. So originally, uh we were just trying to just figure out how to make real-time combat while keeping it turn-based. And we came to the conclusion of having a bar. We were like, oh, we'll have a bar that comes, and you'll just like hit on your turn and block on their turn. And then we were like, wait, with this bar, we could just make it a rhythm game, right? We could just time it
Right.
to the music and it's still real-time combat and it's a rhythm game. So that's we just made sure to time the music with it, and that's kind of how the system got bred. But one thing that's interesting, and I don't think we're going to, just because it might be really tough to do, but we are gonna do a test for it. We're gonna see what it's like to take away the bar and have it, because a lot of people complain that they don't get to see the sprite work when they're looking at that bar. So we're gonna try an idea at some point, just testing it. Doesn't mean it'll ever go to the public,
Hmm.
but uh where we're gonna try and remove the bar and create show and tell animations. So like if a character's about to throw a punch, he'll lean his fist back and then you'll know to block.
Oh, okay. Yeah, like
Hmm.
reaction based.
Yeah, having that to the music where maybe you're just looking at their reactions to the music and having to react accordingly and there's no bar. Uh that would be pretty cool. But it also means there'd be a trial and error aspect where if there's a new attack that's not been done yet coming in, you're gonna have to like die a few times to figure out what they do whenever new moves introduced. So, there's I could see complaints coming out of it too, but that's an idea we're gonna play with.
Well, personally, I think that adding that level of challenge while telegraphing it, I think that would be a great addition. I mean, going back even back to Punch Out, there's not a guy in the corner saying, Mac, block now. You just look at the enemy winding up, and then okay, I don't want to get hit by him, so I'll go this way, I'll go that way. So I think that that's a very solid idea. It definitely is maybe, if not completely replacing the bar system as a separate difficulty mode, I think that would be a great addition.
That's sort of how the Mario and Luigi games do it, right?
Yeah, reacting to the wind up.
What one issue though is like in rhythm games, a lot of it is looking ahead at the bar, so you can internalize like what the notes will be like a second before they actually show up. So that might be a challenge in implementing a system like Mario and Luigi's.
Yeah, exactly. That's why, it's something we're gonna play with, but I definitely do agree with the complaints we've got about there being a bar, that there's no way you can see the sprite work while playing the game. And now it looks great for if you're playing it on like YouTube. Like if
Mm.
someone's watching you play it, it looks fantastic for them. But yeah, there's no way for you, the player, to actually be seeing the great animation. And to an extent, that sucks, because if the final battle of it being 60 frames per second, you're going to be missing a lot of that crazy content going on below the bar, because you're going to have to also be spamming the heck out of it in that battle. So
Or even
what
like the
we
Earthbound style like trippy backgrounds that you guys got.
Oh yeah, it's cool. Those backgrounds I did. My idea is I wanted to have an Earthbound trippy background, but I didn't want to just copy Earthbound and
Mm.
make it obvious. Oh, this is just Earthbound, right? So my idea is I took the inspiration of this sort of distorted, disorientating thing that Earthbound does, but I made it applied to the real background of the levels. So I created this 5 point perspective, or some people call it a fish eyeglass view, of every single location. So yeah, it looks awesome.
I know a lot of people probably say this, but I actually really like Earthbound, and I've actually even played it. So I'm not joking. So it's really nice to see, I guess, in a way, taking the things from Earthbound that aren't just like, oh, well, you can talk to people and they say wacky things, or like, oh, you go in the trash can, you eat a hamburger, because there's so many surface level aspects of Earthbound that I think people pick up, or there's been a bit of a complaint or an issue with a lot of modern gamers, or like hardcore gamers, whatever you want to call them, with like, oh, the Earthbound like is taking over. The Earthbound type genre is running rampant. Although really, there's only like what, four actually released games even similar to Earthbound. But regardless, so I like your approach with the taking the visual effects, but still very much making it its own thing with the battle system and the music. I think it's very good.
Yeah, it's my original idea when working on it was Earthbound, but it's not the lot like there's not it's not just random, there's logic to it.
Mhm.
And if you look at the game with that view, everything kind of will make sense. Like the backgrounds, it's not just a wacky effect for the sake of being a wacky effect. It's a distorted version of the actual level. Or like, you know, I have a character who has the ability to teleport. For example, he's the fast travel character, right? He can teleport you, right? He doesn't just like He's not just like he'll get sick all the time, and it's because of teleporting. Like the longer distance he teleports, the more sick he'll get. He'll like
Mhm.
throw up if he goes all the way to the town, right? So like it's kind of like it's not just, oh, some character does something for some random reason because random equals funny or random equals interesting. It's like they'll usually be like some sort of checks and balance for every wacky thing a character does.
Right. The actual
So
intent.
yeah.
Yeah, these are the kinds of intangibles that other games miss. Well, so why do the characters that this guy teleports, why do they not get sick?
My logic here is like if you if you ran like a marathon or something, right? Or if you were carrying someone, or if you're one of those people who, those wagons where you could like pull people around
The
you.
Yeah.
rickshaws?
Yeah, this character is teleporting them. It's like it's more of a use of his power that's making him sick rather than the actual like distance making him sick.
Right.
So the distance the further distance means he's got to use more of his like power to do that. So which yeah, I can't wait for people to go past the part that I cut it off at, because which that it's been buggy for a while. I think we finally got all the bugs out, but past that part there's an entire city. Like the moment you leave like this shed area, there's an entire city of so many side missions and battles and like the main story. And like there's like 6 hours of content right after that part. Like there's just so much stuff that you can do. And that's what I mean. When I probably should have just had it all out when I did the Kickstarter. But the problem is like, by that logic, what would I need the Kickstarter for? Because I probably would get all the money from the actual
Yeah.
project.
You'd be giving
So
the players a 6 hour demo, which would be sick, but
Yeah, the problem that's exactly the problem. My game isn't formatted for a Kickstarter format. I don't have your hook, liner, sinker. I don't have your cliffhanger at the end that gets you like, oh boy, because it's I just have the actual game that will have all that stuff in it, but there's not a good point early on in the game to cut it off like that. So I just abruptly cut a piece out of what we had.
right. Here's how it looks. Here's how it plays. If you like it, that's great. Speaking of the game itself, where exactly did it come from? Because I see that you've been working on it for quite some time. So how did Away from Home or Home, because it seems to also have couple different iterations on the name. How did it come into being?
To address the first thing though, because that is something very important. And honestly, I gotta think more on how I want to do this. Originally, I was making Away from Home, which is actually the next part to this game. And I got so schizo with the storytelling that I realized I need a prologue or like a part one to even help. Like it would be way too long and wild of a game if it didn't have like prior knowledge, and I didn't want to just have a ton of flashbacks throughout the game. So I just decided I would make an entire other game. So Away from Home is actually the real thing that I want to focus on, but Home is this what I'm working on now.
Hmm.
Is Home is kind of like the precursor to that game. And because I already made the Steam page and stuff for Away from Home, it's easier to franchise it as Away from Home, because that if I mean if you look up Away from Home on Steam right now, it comes up, right?
Right.
Because there's so many games called Home. So that's sort of the thing, is it's a lot easier to direct people. And when they actually get to the page, they'll be able to find Home and stuff. And why I didn't just call it Away from Home Prologue is because Steam's got dumb rules against that, or at least they did. I got no clue. I tried doing that and they told me I couldn't. And yeah, so I just swapped it to just say Home.
It's a whole new
yeah, I
thing.
was wondering why there were two individual Steam pages for the game. That clears things up.
Yeah, so they are separate games, but Home is going to be what's coming out first. Which I mean, and then there's the other idea where I've thought of just almost releasing kind of I like this is another random idea, but I've thought of releasing almost like a program or battle playground as
Mhm.
home, and just actually releasing this under Away From Home, and then having to name my main baby something different. It's tough because it's definitely confusing to people, and it's because I started on the main game first, and to just delete that Steam page now would not make sense considering it's got a ton of wish lists. So
Right.
Now, how many years have you been working on this game?
eight years, which yeah, more than a third of my lifespan. It's like absolutely insane how long I've been working on it. I started as a fifth grader,
Wow.
which I discount that sometimes even because I was blessed enough to have played Undertale and the game. Most people don't know it, but if you know Lisa the Painful,
Oh, come on, man. Of
good,
course I
good,
know Lisa the Painful.
awesome.
Please.
I played those back to back, which blind too, had no context of either. And before those were my first indie games too.
Mhm.
Before that, I only ever played like Xbox, and I thought only big companies could make games because I was little, but
Right.
I was like, oh yeah, Halo and Call of Duty, only big companies make games. So my first indie games were those two, and they were absolute bangers. And to an extent,
What an introduction, by the way.
I know,
Undertale and Lisa the Painful.
yeah.
That's
Well, and
perfect.
then just coincidentally after that, I was playing like Binding of Isaac after that, and like just all these banger indie games, and I found them all naturally too.
Mhm.
In fifth grade, it's not like you got a pipeline of people to talk to that are like, you should play this, and I didn't have a social media. I
Right.
would go on A10 games to play free games on the web, and apparently Binding of Isaac was on there, and like the demo of it. So I played that, and then they had a link to their Steam page, and I was like, "Oh, this is
Yeah.
cool."
The influence of Newgrounds is all reaching.
I know, right? Well,
It's
that's
amazing.
why I've been uploading my game on Newgrounds too, and it's been doing great. Each time it gets like over 10K plays, like with each iteration,
Yeah.
and it's been on the front page.
That's the way to go. I know
Yeah.
that's really something. Yeah, I gotta show you I'll send you my buckets cosplay later. Remind me to send you that.
Oh, that'd be
But
awesome. Yeah.
but okay, so wow. You start with Undertale, then go straight to Lisa the Painful, and from there so those two would you say are the kind of the idea that made you think like, oh, I these games are great. Only one guy made both of these
Yes,
games.
that's exactly the thought process. Yeah.
I should make a game.
And yeah, from then on, I just started working on it. I got RPG Maker because
Hmm.
VX Ace is what Lisa was made in.
Hmm.
Uh, and yeah, I just started working on that for a while. Then I moved to Click Team Fusion, and then I moved to Game Maker Studio, and that's where I've been.
Very nice. So the different iterations of Home throughout the years, because I saw there was also a 2020 Kickstarter as well, correct?
Yeah.
That was
So that one was they're all learning lessons, but that one was monkey brain. Ooh, people will donate when they see it. So I just threw it out there. And then this time around, I just feel like one of the issues, and I talked to a lot of people, is most of the people I marketed the Kickstarter to didn't already have Kickstarter accounts, and you kind of got to make your own contact list, which is something I didn't think about because I thought I thought the numbers mattered. So if you look at
Mhm.
the Kickstarter post, I got over 200,000 views. I got tens of thousands of like reposts and likes and all this insane attention. I even had such famous people sharing it. Like I had like Tom Fulp, owner of
Oh
Newgrounds was
yeah.
sharing it. Lumpy Touch shared it. Like there was some huge people sharing it. So I was like, oh, like you would assume that visibility and marketing, and the game looks I know the game looks great. Like even that trailer looks fantastic. I
It's
showed
true.
some pretty cool stuff. And I got a lot of compliments. I got a lot of people interacting with the post, but the conversion to Kickstarter was very, very small.
Right. It's much easier to click retweet than it is to make the account and put money in.
Well, what was even crazier is I talked to a handful of people who interacted with the post because I had to figure it out. It wasn't like why didn't she donate? It was like
Shaking them down.
I'm studying marketing here. What why didn't it convert? You know?
Hmm.
And they told me they got to Kickstarter, and Kickstarter tells you when you want to donate, you have to make an entire account.
Right.
And no one wants to do that. And I talked to like 5 different people. I haven't had a different reason. Like I hadn't even been given the reason I don't have money. It was like I don't want to. I didn't want to have to make a Kickstarter account. That's the issue. That's kind of why Indiegogo, I guess, is Kickstarter used to not do that. Kickstarter, it used to be that you just go on there and you can donate. You just put in your card info and you're good. It was just like your classic like GoFundMe sort of thing,
Right. Give me money because I want a new computer.
Exactly.
Right.
But because now you got to make these accounts, there's a wall, and maybe if I ever do it again, I'll do Indiegogo because all you need is your email, and then you're just good to donate. Because that's what they do; they give you the email. Uh, but yeah, Kickstarter doing that, what it's created is a sort of you need to get Kickstarter contacts in order to have a successful project. It doesn't matter if you got a solid product or if you know who you're marketing to. It matters. All right, well, do these people have a Kickstarter account?
Right.
Right? Because I mean, even you know, most of the money it even said came from Twitter and everything, and that's great. Um, but the problem is everyone I spoke to was saying they didn't want to make an account. It's just like a big waste of time if they wanted to just do a nice little throw a few dollars at the project, and they had to make an account, and that's why you see the pre-launch culture. Like you'll see all these Kickstarters, they'll have these pre-launch followers, which are people who already have Kickstarter accounts.
Right.
Right. So that's kind of the issue. It's its own undertaking, and it's kind of like in a weird sense, I'd be better off making my own donations page because in a very odd sense, and I know why Kickstarter does it, it's a business model where you are marketing Kickstarter as a product actually to people. Like I'm Kickstarter's advertiser, like the company Kickstarter,
Mhm.
right? By doing that format, I'm trying to make all these people make an account for that company and in hopes of getting a product funded. Whereas if I just went on Wix or made a quick website where you could
Right.
donate to,
Had the hat out at PAX or something.
yeah, exactly. It's like, it's way easier. And I'm not having to market some other company as a product to people, make people sign up for an account.
Nor would you
So
have to give Kickstarter their share if for a
exactly.
successful
Right. The
project.
cut. The all important cut.
Going forward, I'm gonna finish the game and I'm gonna put it out there. I'm thinking, and it's really tough. I'm thinking I might put out a few small games in between that, and it's no problem. All the art for the main game's finished. It just needs to be programmed. So in the meantime, I might do art for a few smaller projects, just so I can get like more views and more plays and more
Mhm.
attention on my social media as a game dev. And
Yeah,
then yeah, it should have a good amount of attention.
I certainly hope so.
It is absolutely wild, though. Just like the lesson of visibility and social media clicks do not convert to plays. Like they weren't bots or anything either. It was like the entire pixel art community came together and shared that. Like I got so many messages from some really popular people. I mean, you guys know Smiling Friends?
Oh, of course.
Yeah, Oni cartoons like Oni
Yeah.
NG. Yeah, he's following me. You can go check online. Like he talked to me about my game. It was like awesome, like all these giant amazing people, and it's just yeah, it's not about the social media numbers. It's about like I think there's a loyalty factor, is what I came to the conclusion. I think had I released the full thing, it would have blown up. Like purchases slash Kickstarter wise. But the issues, I think people checked it out and they were like, this was the main message I was getting is this looks fantastic, but I can't wait to see more. I'd like to see more sort of thing,
Right.
too. So
Just that little bit more. But with the game itself, because you said it didn't initially have the rhythm game mechanics, and I remember in the 2020 version, it was more closer to like a traditional turn-based game, right?
yeah,
So as you've been going through with the rhythm game, kind of like the action metronome system that it currently has there been anything in particular you've learned outside of like what you said, where people are saying like, oh well, it's fun to play, but I can't see the sprite work. Has there been anything regarding actual like the music, composing the music in a different way? Did you at any point want to compose the music yourself, or did you always have this team of composers working with you, things like that?
yeah. Originally, I was doing the music myself. Originally, I was doing the programming, art, music, marketing, just everything.
Hmm.
And I eventually learned that it's better to be a one trick pony than a mid all trick pony, right?
Hmm.
Is if I just focus on one or two of the things and bring in other people that focus on that one thing, what you get is just a fantastic product rather than a lackluster half good product that is just all made by one guy and cuts corners and saves money. There's also a odd benefit or gain from having other people on board too, which is like sometimes if they really are good at what they do, they'll get popular on their own and that brings notoriety to your product. Or if they're already popular, they'll bring notoriety. Like I had one of the people who worked on Friday Night Funkin', I had them do a art piece for one of the titles
Hmm.
before they were famous. Like they weren't famous yet. They didn't do anything yet.
That was a Phantom Arcade,
No, it was
Ninja Muffin or something.
yeah, I don't remember that they changed it since, but
Okay.
they did some of the they weren't the big ones. It was someone who did the character designs. Like they did a few of the characters. I know they did this thing like some mouse character too for them for other games they made as well. They made like Ritz or something. They made a handful of the some character designs for them.
Okay.
Uh yeah, but it is cool that they blew up and they'll talk about the game too and stuff. But that post, by the way, that post for the Kickstarter actually got as popular because I went and compared as like a Friday Night Funkin' post. So
Yeah,
it
the
is
big
just
leagues.
wild. Yeah, I think it's a marketing disconnect. I think there's something I don't understand about marketing that I need to understand better. Like I guarantee you, if I go and take a publisher, they're gonna look at those numbers and be like, "You missed your
Yeah.
opportunity. What were you
Yeah.
doing? You were supposed to do this."
The numbers into liquid cash. That's what they want to see.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. I was thinking about it. This isn't gonna go anywhere further than this, but like when you think of a like an election, for example, it's one yeah,
Yeah.
like it is
Where are you
one
going?
thing. Yeah, yeah. They make you want to vote for a candidate, right?
Right.
And just because you like a candidate, it's a whole nother undertaking for them to get you to actually go to the polls and vote.
Yes. Very absolutely.
Exactly. So I succeeded in the first part where in this case I got people like my candidate slash product, but
Right. They wouldn't Pokemon go to the polls, unfortunately.
yeah, Pokemon.
Yeah.
That's a classic.
Wow. What
But
a... Anyways.
yeah, on the so I did try and do all the music myself. I have some really bad. I got like music lessons from a guy named Nelward.
My favorite musician.
Really,
Yeah, I met him. I met him live, and he signed some stuff of mine. I was planning on wearing my Null Word shirt, but then I wore the silver
dude,
case one.
what are the chances? I feel like he's such a like he's great, but he's so obscure. I don't think I've ever met
I
someone who's
I
known
love
him.
him. It to an embarrassing amount. When I met him, I was literally stuttering and tripping over myself.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, he gave me music lessons back in the day. So a lot of my music sounds like his work, and he taught me like how his main thing is doing sampling, where like
Mhm.
you'll make a sound, like you'll click a spoon or go like, or like you'll talk into the mic and just like heighten the pitch and like turn it into music. It's pretty cool. So that was the kind of work I was doing. The game used to have this way more quirky vibe to it too. Um, but the issue is at some point, I was like, well, why am I doing this and spending hours doing it? I'll just hire people who are really good at it. So now Nelward actually made some songs for the game, and he doesn't
Mhm.
do songs for video games anymore either. So there's unreleased Nelward tracks that I currently have that will be released.
Oh man, listen, you put it behind a super bus. I don't care. I'm gonna get to it.
Yeah, yeah. So it is very exciting. Yeah, his work's great. I actually love what he did for the game. I wish I got more from him before he stopped doing game music,
Mhm.
because yeah, he fully moved into the whole independent works thing. Yeah, I still listen to him too.
Now, one of the things that happen is when you delegate, you cede a little bit of your creative control. How is like trying to relate your vision on what the songs for any particular scene? How did you uh, give that to your artists?
So it's great you say that, because believe it or not, it's almost actually the opposite of the way that was phrased, which isn't conventional and isn't how people do it. I actually, and even when I have the art, I'll like make sure to withhold a bunch of it. I describe the scene to the musicians and have them do the music, and I'll base the scene and the art off of the music, actually.
Oh, okay.
That's
Mm.
why everything is so well timed and kind of goes together. Is they'll give me this wacky song, or cool hard hitting beat, and I'll be like, oh dang, it would be so cool if this happened in this moment,
Right, and you can
sort of
kind of
thing.
build the scene around the song itself.
Exactly,
I think for
exactly.
for a rhythm game like you're making, that is kind of the ideal way to do it. So even
Yeah.
if it does counter to the common way, that does make sense. And let's see, I know Raccoons also wanted to know, um, are there any other rhythm games that you would look to for inspiration for this one? And outside of other games, what is your favorite Rhythm Heaven song and minigame?
Oh boy. Um. Okay, so for the Rhythm Heaven song, I actually I don't remember what the song is called, but I like the one with the what is it? The luchador is getting interviewed.
Oh yeah, that
Yeah.
that
Oh,
true? Yeah.
Yeah. That was always fun. I don't know, it's fun to me. Like the wubba lubba dubba, is that true?
Ringside is a classic. Those
That's a
YouTube
great
groups
one.
that they would make
Oh
introduce me
yeah.
to that shit.
No, that's the thing too, is I loved all the memes that came from it too back in the day, and like edits people would make. So then what was the first part of that question again?
The mini game.
Yes. Any other games or mini games that
Yeah,
inspired home?
if only I was quicker, I would have been the first ever pixel rhythm RPG. But so at the time, no, it was just a mix of everything, right? It was, as mentioned earlier, Rhythm Heaven, Fever, Earthbound, uh more specifically Mother 3. I just say Earthbound because people know Earthbound as that, but you
Right.
guys are probably cultured enough to
Yeah,
know
we're
Mother 3.
educated. We played it.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, besides those inspirations, nothing was out at the time.
Mhm.
There's things that have come out since, like there's Keylocker, and like there's this one frog game I saw that was like a frog's journey or something. Uh, but yeah, at the time when I started on it, there was nothing. I almost, I really wish I got this thing out there before Friday Night Funkin' though, because
Uh,
it
you
was
would have been the
in the
one.
works. Yeah, it was in the works 5 years before that. But to be fair, Friday Night Funkin' is pretty great. It's got a great vibe.
Yeah.
Poe Rapper, the rapper inspiration.
You could have
So
seen the thousands of people making creepypasta home mods.
yeah,
Yeah.
well, so I feel like one of the reasons it blew up so much wasn't even just because of its vibe, but it was because the modding community they allowed.
Yes.
Because that meant, and this is what I think is a crucial part of a lot of products' popularity. is it's technically free advertising for you if someone goes out of their way to make a mod, and they're doing it for themselves. They're doing it for their own fun. It's like they enjoy it and it's free. It doesn't cost them anything to mod a game. But if you make it easy for them, people are going to be proud of their content and what they made with your work and post it. And it's just going to be getting all this attention on, like when people make, creepy pasta Friday Night Funkin' mods, people are like, oh, that's Friday Night Funkin', or someone doesn't know what it is. They're like, oh, what is this? And they find out it's Friday Night Funkin'.
Yeah.
Which there is actually a way to make my game moddable and even multiplayer if I wanted. Like I could make you wouldn't be able to play the story part of it multiplayer or modded, but I could take the battle system and actually make it that people could fight each other, and it would almost be a rhythm battle where you gotta kind of out strategize and out beat someone, right? Like, you would have to block in time and attack in time,
Right.
and whoever lasts the longest sort of thing. But so that's a possibility. And then the modding aspect is I can make those battles moddable. People could put in their own items, their own attributes for each characters and their own art. And that could be something pretty cool I might do, but it's all expensive. All stuff like very expensive too, because I have to get a server if I do that.
Right.
But it's something I might consider doing. I mean, it's something I've thought about doing, but I almost think the game would have to already be popular, even though that's counterproductive. Like, you would do that to get popular. It's just such a risky and expensive undertaking.
Without the guarantee that it'll be possible. Because I think that was the thing with Friday Night Funkin' was that people were just so fond of it. They're like, well, what if I just kind of mess around with it? And then they found out they could change the charts and things, right? Or add their own songs, custom art assets with the mods. People love creating new things. I mean, same thing with like even going back to Minecraft. That's a huge reason that got so popular. Oh, look, Pokemon in Minecraft. Wow. And then going back to the rhythm games. Sorry, I keep getting off track. Proper timing windows are crucial to a satisfying rhythm game. And so how did you figure out the balance for that?
Oh, I hired one of the musicians we have. He happened to be like a Guitar Hero guru
Hmm.
and make fan charts for Guitar Hero and Rock Band. So I just hired him to do the charts. He would just ask for the BPMs for each song and he would do the charts. And then
Actually, just figure it out.
we created a program that converts the charts into code for Game Maker.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so it's
Yeah,
pretty cool. He goes into Reaper and just makes like a song file with each beat, and it
it,
works.
all right. Yeah, I always thought it was like personally custom applying every single note. That's crazy. I know
Oh,
we
well, yeah,
interviewed.
actually, that is what it is. Like he'll go in and we have to custom apply it to make the difference between attack and defense.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, it is just like converted through a unrelated system.
I was gonna say, yeah, you just drop the saw and it just works. That's game development. It's come a long way.
No, I
Yeah.
wish, I wish.
Yeah, I know. We interviewed a developer for Starstruck as well the other day, and he also had a Guitar Hero Pro chart maker help out with a lot of the rhythm game mechanics in his game. So it's good to see that when it comes to a rhythm game, the best thing to do is get someone who's really good at Guitar Hero. That seems to be the common thread.
It's crazy that there's a job prospects in that field.
I know. Yeah, after all these years.
Yeah, there really is. And it's like quite a quite a profitable business too. Cause like at least the way I do it, I pay per chart.
Mm.
So the charts don't really take long to do, but it's also like there's thinking that goes into it. Like, you got to kind of express the difficulty you need to it. And you also, so, they got to have like the know-how to how to remove certain notes while not making it ugly. Like they can't have a note
Right.
on each beat or it will actually be kind of hard, unless you want a hard battle, right?
Right. What balances the playability and what makes sense for the actual song playing.
Exactly. Yeah,
Right. You want the gamer to feel like, oh yeah, I'm a rhythm master.
exactly. Which my game apparently has actually failed to do for some people.
Oh, like the difficulty?
Yeah, I've had a lot of people complain that the tutorial's too hard. And when I say a lot, I mean like pretty sizable chunk.
The fight with Michael?
Yeah, yeah.
I think they might just be bad at games. I'm gonna be honest with you.
That's what I think. I honestly
I
think
think they're
that
bad at
because
video games.
I had a 13-year-old girl come in at PAX Australia and beat that. And I
Now, to be fair to the general public, like rhythm games take at least a little bit of know-how to know how to play well.
That's true. You have to actually press the button at the right time instead of mashing. So I guess for the general public, that would be a bit difficult.
A lot of gamers can't comprehend that.
It's true.
yeah, well, it's wild too because like I mean, I don't know. I don't even know how to like make it easier than that.
Would
Like
you consider adding like an autoplay function for people who just want to experience the story, perhaps, or would that kind of go against what you're doing?
it's interesting if I did do that though, I feel like it'd make more sense for those kind of people to go watch a YouTuber play it,
Right.
right?
Like just a let's
Because
play.
And then they
yeah,
could see the battle animations.
That's true.
exactly. Which I mean, that was kind of my thought process too. Is I mean, for the people who can't see the animations, like it sucks, and I'm gonna try and see if there's a way I can make it more convenient where you can see them. But people playing the game, it's like it should be the perfect game to play on a stream or play on YouTube because it will just look fantastic
Hmm.
on
Outside
the
of
on the screen.
outside of having
Yeah,
like add a gallery mode or something.
yeah.
One thing I noticed about the charts is that when you play a battle, sometimes the chart will change slightly between encounters. Is that right, or am I crazy?
It depends on who you're fighting. Like with the mushrooms, like there's a tiny mushroom that's got one chart, and then the bigger mushrooms got an edit of that song with a slightly different chart.
Mm.
So like it with a kind of upping of difficulty sort of thing, but it sounds very similar because they're both the same kind of creature. They're just one's bigger.
That's one of my favorite things that Mother 3 did, is that there will be slightly different time signatures for some
Hmm.
like battles.
Yeah, that rhythm mechanic. That's always a pleasant addition.
What's your gaming philosophy? What was that all
Yes,
about?
I forgot to ask your gaming philosophy. What do you consider to be a good game, and what are you trying to do with this game? What to you is gaming all about?
Ooh. Okay. So it's great you ask this because this is going to go to a game completely unrelated. But
Perfect.
you're gonna be like, oh, what do you hear? But Five Nights at Freddy's.
One of my
Um,
favorites.
yep. That game kind of taught me games are just another if this will make sense when I explain it, but games are just another kind of book. And what I mean by that is movies are an interpretation of a book, the same way games are an interpretation of a book. A movie is something you get to visually experience. Games are more like a kinetic experience of it, right? It's more of a hands-on, you get to be in the
Right.
situation,
You are the
right?
driving
So
force.
yeah, they're all different ways of media and conveying it, but they're all trying to get a story across.
Yes.
So my general take is usually a game, if it's not a fun game that's meant to be multiplayer or played with a group, then it's got to have a good story, or it's kind of just not
Mm.
really a good game. So
Forgettable. Yeah.
yeah, Lisa the Painful, Undertale being, and I should have said this earlier. This game, the main goal is to be a mix between those two. So the game, in this first part you got to play, it feels very wholesome and cute, and that's because it's going for the Undertale vibe in that. But when the main antagonist gets involved and when the actual story starts to kick off, I
Mhm.
would say whenever you're in the main plot points, it's going to be like Lisa, and whenever you're in the general world, it's going to be Undertale. And I think that format works so effectively too, in the sense that having the wholesome like wacky events where you get to build relations and connections to these characters. I think it makes it that if something bad happens, it makes it all the more of an
Devastating.
That
experience.
dissonance really makes those darker moments hit harder.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just, I mean, it's the same thing in Lisa, like that famous scene where you find the guy with the orphanage and one of the kids is playing with the matches, he's like, "Oh, can you get the water?" You throw it, all the kids catch on fire. It's hilarious. And
Yeah.
then later, something significantly less, objectively less horrific happens with Brad like beating the shit out of one of his best friends. It's a heart-wrenching scene. It's that discrepancy, that tonal shift. It's a very powerful thing, and being able to use that effectively, I think, is really what can make a story really elevate to be something great. So I'm looking forward to seeing what's going on in the city and home, if that's what you're aiming for.
It is. And one thing that's very interesting too is I feel like, and this is such a specific example, but I feel like your game is a good game when it's the type of story that at some point a character will be in a quiet area or looking off a cliff in the game, and you'll have a version of the game's theme playing, and the player will just take a moment to just
Mm.
like take it in, right? Like Undertale actually did that pretty well. Lisa's done that pretty well with that one. It'd be that what's the OST song? It's called like
Summer
Summer
Love.
something. Yeah, Summer Love. Speaking of Lisa, actually, I kind of do have it like right here if I wanted to grab it. But the publisher of Lisa, Serenity Forge, has been talking to me a lot,
Oh,
which is pretty
really?
cool.
Hell
Very
yeah.
Yeah.
cool. Yeah.
Yeah. It's just I don't know what I'm gonna do fully yet. Like I don't know if I want to take a publisher or if I want to self-publish. I know that kind of sounds stupid, but
No, not at all. It's your project. It's yours to do with what you please. If you want to publish it yourself, by all means.
well, on top of that, it's just like in the long run, I want to actually publish other people's games too, while making my own games. So like I like the idea of becoming like a Sega or maybe even a Nintendo someday, but I like the idea of having a company that's both producing its own very good content and then publishing others' content, right? Because at some point, I would like the idea of almost creating like an independent like company, like a Epic Games sort of thing or Steam sort of thing, where you have like
Mhm.
an app where you can actually purchase it all and whatnot. But that'd be way down the line. But yeah,
Those
I
those ambitions are good. It's great to have to hold on to. I think you're going the exact right direction. Why start small when you can aim for the sky?
exactly. Well, and starting with an RPG too is like the safest way. I think you could start with that. Like I know it's funny to think, oh, he's making an indie RPG. That's big talk, but it's like it's more tactical in the sense that that tends to be the safest way to have a successful product.
And
Mm.
there's a big market for it too.
But I am so hyped for when the public gets to get their hands on this game because oh my gosh, it's just fantastic. I'm actually really hoping I can get it out there before AI can do it because genuinely like that final boss battle, I'm not even kidding. It's over 1,000 hours put into just the animations alone. And it's gonna suck when AI art can copy that and do that. Because there's no AI used in this game. And
So
if
it'll
I
be
don't get it
released by
out
the end
soon,
of 2024, is what you're saying?
it's gonna be more like 3 to 4 months. It's gonna be like because now that we're not in a exact rush, we're gonna just polish it so great. Like we
Mm.
already started doing a few things and we've gotten so many compliments. Like we added birds to the beginning area, and that already just like added so much. Like they'll fly away, they'll walk around, um, they'll like peck and stuff. And on top of that, like we want to add flowers, we're gonna add leaves coming off the trees, we're gonna add effects on the trees and whatnot. It's like now we're because we have this, I guess, extra time because of the Kickstarter not getting funded, we're polishing the heck out of the game
Right.
and it's just making it
Making it
feel and look so
alive.
much better. Yeah,
Yeah. That's great. Yeah, looking forward to whenever take all the time you need to create a product that you feel completely satisfied with. Mr. Nintendo once said, you wait a long time to finish a game, that makes it better, or something like that.
He was talking about Star Fox Zero in that quote, so I think Miyamoto's
That's
a
really
dang
funny.
liar.
Was he really?
Yes.
Oh, well, I guess that's why they made Pikmin 4 as an apology.
Off topic, but have you guys ever played Star Fox Assault?
I haven't. Is that the
It's so
GameCube one?
Kino.
It's the GameCube one. That
Yeah.
one I think is the best one, but the dialogue in it is abysmal. Like the localization, like they don't say this, but every dialogue in it's equivalent to wolf you turd head. Like it's like the
Yeah.
worst dialogue, but the gameplay is fantastic.
That's the one where Wolf has the scouter, right?
Yes, yes.
That game's local multiplayer was unbeatable back in the day.
Yeah.
You can continue. I just had to ask.
No, I only played 64. I missed out. I was always an RPG guy.
Dang.
Yeah.
GameCube, I think, is the best console. Nintendo did
Really?
so many original ideas with it, like Luigi's Mansion,
Mm.
I think Pokemon Coliseum,
Yes, yeah. I think
Metroid
eventually
Prime.
stolen.
Uh,
F-Zero GX.
yeah, F-Zero GX. There's just Kirby Air
Right.
Ride. They've never made another one of those.
Little indie darling called Melee.
Yeah, the best game of all
Yes.
time.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, the GameCube, it was just unbeatable. Everything on there was so original, and it was just such a great console.
It really was. It's just too bad the controller, destroys your hands.
You think so? I think that controller is the most comfortable controller I've
Have you
used in
ever
my whole
seen
life.
this is getting way off topic, but have you ever seen like the pro Smash players who are like, oh yeah, I had to switch to using the leverless controller that's all buttons because I wave dash too hard playing against a Jigglypuff and my tendons tore in my wrist. Yeah,
Yeah.
And those same
Those
Melee
Jigglypuffs,
fans
dude.
will go and invent a whole ass controller
I
to
know.
continue to play Melee.
Just to keep going, they're addicted. They're sick in the head, and I'm one of them.
Dude, it's been 3 weeks since Rivals 2 came out, and I already got almost 100 hours.
I know,
Oh
man.
my
You're always in it.
gosh.
You're always in it when I'm not in it. I'm noticing. Also,
Oh, I think the creator of Rivals is following the game my game too, by
oh
the
Oh,
way.
hell
really?
That's
yeah.
just another wild character. Yeah, dude, I
Man,
got no,
Infernacy.
you got eyes
I'm
on you.
telling you. Yeah,
Yeah,
I got a lot of I got all the respect of famous people, but not an
yeah.
audience.
And here
I
you
don't
are
know
on
how
the
that
Video
happens.
Dish podcast, the premier independent gaming
Oh
show.
yeah,
Yeah, you
yeah.
made it.
I
You,
did it.
this is the top. This is the pinnacle. It's all downhill from here. But so for home, this first one, I guess since home, now that we know that this is kind of the prologue to Away from Home, what would you like players to walk away from home with? Would it be just, I gotta get more of this game, I gotta get my hands on the next part? Or is there's some sort of thematic message you want to share, or any sort of meaning or theme you want to impart with the player or anything like that?
Yeah, pretty much. And this isn't too spoilery, but this one definitely is setting up the thematic messaging for the next part.
Hmm.
Uh that's not to say that this whole part's just a setup for it. It's actually this part is going to leave people like absolutely like shocked, or the soy face like
Yeah.
like
That'll be in
yeah,
the thumbnail.
that it'll be pretty mind blowing. I don't think anyone could expect or predict what's going to happen in it, but it is definitely going to be shocking and surprising, and
Perfect.
it is going to leave people wanting to go, like tasting their fingers
Right. I
for
want
more.
seconds.
Yeah,
Okay, that's what I want to hear. I want to
and
hear.
it's
Ex
great too because it establishes all the characters, so like you get a good amount of time with all of them, and it will make you people will be able to talk about it and actually have something to walk away with.
Mhm. In that wait for the next section.
Yeah.
Perfect. Okay, so play home, and then after you play home, wait for Away from Home.
Yep.
And lastly, will there be any more live action trailer segments by that lake like you had in the Kickstarter announcement?
Oh man. Uh so I've been thinking really hard about growing my social media and doing like more like actual in-person type stuff, especially because I'm not camera shy at all.
Mhm.
So I feel like I should take advantage of that and do some of the most stupidest stuff to get attention, but I don't want to make it try too hard. But I've already thought of like after this Kickstarter fails, I'm not going to because I decided I wasn't going to do a Patreon, but I got really close to having one of my buddies film and dressing up as a homeless person, and
Where's this going?
yeah,
Doing
and
like
having
a fucking, what is it? Who's the guy who did all the fake giveaways and everything? It's like man gives $100 to homeless guy, changes his
yeah,
life. Man gives
that's what I
copy
was
of
gonna
home to
do.
homeless guy.
Yeah, I was gonna pretend to be homeless because the Kickstarter failing.
Yeah.
And I was gonna animate some pixel arms in the camera view. I was gonna have my buddy, have the camera on his head like this, so it's like a POV. And I was gonna have like pixelated arms in the frame, like it's a guy standing. And I was gonna have him, yeah, like donate the game and like be like, "There's another way," sort of thing, and leave me
Oh
the
man, why you
Patreon.
scrap that idea? That's great. You have like
Well,
little bottle that says XXX booze on it.
yeah, yeah. Well, I had to scrap it because I don't think I'm gonna do a Patreon. I think I'm just gonna finish the game on its own.
Hmm.
But if I almost decided I'd do a Patreon and tell the Kickstarter followers like who donated to just go to that. But because the issue was, once again, it wasn't that it wasn't that there was no way to have got it funded. It's that I tried to multitask growing the Kickstarter while growing my Steam page.
Right.
And you just got to keep the aces in their places. If my goal is to get wish lists, I need to focus on that. If my goal is to get Kickstarter donations, then I got to focus on that. So if I do a Patreon, it's going to take you notice how anyone doing a Patreon is like an animator or an artist or
Yeah.
something, they're making, that's the main thing they're trying to get you to, is the Patreon. I'm trying to get you to a Steam page to buy and play the game. So I shouldn't be trying to lead you to a Patreon as well, right? It just
Right.
complicates things, and that's why it becomes tough. But yeah, with that idea, yeah, by the end of it, I would have been
Yeah,
clean
hold on to that
shaven.
idea though.
Yeah, well,
Something
I
that
got a lot of creative ideas. I used to do like film classes, so I've always wanted to do a lot of stuff in front of the camera, but there's not like a lot of content stuff. I don't know if you've ever seen the one I did in Japan, where there was this, I'm like, away from home video game #1.
Oh, you have
all
one?
of a sudden.
No,
Yeah,
I'll put that in the description. Or actually, I'll just blast it. I'll put it in the corner or something.
yeah.
Yeah, while they're watching.
But that one's good because out of nowhere, I just like yeah, you definitely, when you get the chance, you gotta check it out. It's like out of nowhere, it just kind of cuts like, and I'm in the video, I'm just dead. Like while I'm trying to advertise the game, like it looks like it's gonna be like a full advertisement, but it doesn't tell you anything.
Yeah, just do like the Family Guy death pose in the middle
Yeah,
of the can.
yeah, pretty much.
Nice.
But yeah, you get the idea. There's definitely, so when you ask, will there be more stuff like that? The answer is yes. I think it's so perfect. I always thought I would explain this if I was in an interview like this, and now I can.
There you
I'm
go.
so glad you asked for that video, because that video. So originally, I filmed it with a frog on my shoulder. Like I have a pet frog,
Okay.
and originally I
see
filmed
him?
it like that. Yeah, he's in that thing back there.
Okay.
Actually. Yeah. He I filmed it with him on my shoulder while I was wearing a suit because I thought that'd be very funny. And I have the recording, but the reason I didn't do it is people are kind of stupid, and they're gonna be like, "You endangered the frog.
Right.
He could
What
have
if
jumped
he
off."
was eaten by a condor?
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I just, you know, I just didn't upload that version of it. I just refilmed it without that. But um what's wild is we had a local beach. That's where I filmed that, and it was such a sunny, beautiful day. It was like before the summer, and the beach was closed at that time. Like the beach wasn't opening for another week or two.
Mm.
So, while wearing a suit, while holding a frog, and with all my film equipment, I jumped the fence, and my pants got caught on it
Yeah.
and tore my suit's pants.
That's why it's
And,
all
no.
up here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I filmed it at the beach, but it's just like, it's like something straight out of Better Call Saul. Like, imagine if they saw that on the cameras, or someone saw that there's a man with sunglasses, slicked hair, in a suit jumping the fence of a closed beach. while
and
holding a
tearing.
frog, holding a frog and recording equipment.
Hey man, that's
Permit free.
guerrilla filmmaking.
Exactly. Permit free. Stick it to the man.
Yeah,
Pursuit of artistic excellence. You can't let permits get you down.
exactly, exactly.
And in addition to that, how is your relationship with Sephiroth-Sword-SAMA? Do you guys keep up?
Oh, I love that, man. Yeah, I'm heavily considering giving him a moment in the game too.
I
Like you
I
turn on a TV and he's just like reporting the news
yeah.
of the local area. I might do that. Like I've been really thinking about it.
Now there's someone who gets Japan.
Relationship's beautiful. I had him in I don't know if you saw the video I posted. He shared it too. Um I had him do a like a thing about the game. Like
Yeah.
he tried out the game and he talked about it in a video. And he's like, it's super sugoi.
Mm.
He's awesome. And yeah, while I was in Japan, why I had him try it out and wanted him to do that is I wanted to have that be the ad for the game in Japan. So I
Mm.
got a recording of it on the TV. It's got him talking while all these Japanese people are gathered around the TV.
That's perfect.
Yeah, and I put like a caption like the emperor addresses the nation, something like that. It was awesome. But yeah, I'm thinking I'll have him do some more content with the project. It's like I might give him a moment in the game,
Yeah,
like on the
perfect.
TV. So yeah, I'm glad you noticed that too. I didn't know how
Oh
many
yeah.
people would pick up on that. I actually had one of my workers didn't know who he was, like one of the people I work with.
Mm. Baka
Um,
Gaijin.
yeah, he looked at I had it on the Steam page, and I think I still do the like trailer with him on it. And he's like, "Who is that guy?" he's like, people aren't gonna buy the game if they see that. What the heck, man? I'm like, no, dude, you don't understand. You
This
just
guy is he is the
yeah, he
advertisement.
is the game. He is
No,
kidding,
it
but
definitely drew my attention when I saw him. I was like, what the hell?
yeah,
What's my favorite person doing here?
yeah, it's awesome. His content is so great though.
Oh
And he's
yeah.
like, it's a JRPG inspired. I love how he's always like saying terrible stuff about the West, and he's like,
Yeah. Unlike
he's like an
Japan.
awesome guy. Yeah, unlike
No.
the superior Japanese products.
He's really everything I want to be, you know?
Yeah, he is kind
So
of like end goal
yeah.
for real.
Like we were talking about. He's just living the dream, in Japan. Anyways, speaking of the future, so the potential release date for the game you're saying is ideally 4 or 5 months into
Yeah,
2025. What do they say in the business world? Quarter one, quarter two, spring
yeah.
release.
Which, to be fair, we could have it out sooner, but I think we should just polish it,
Hmm.
make it the best it can be. It's so close to it's like actually 5% from done. It's like the issue though is we needed. I'm in so much debt from working on it, and that's kind of what the Kickstarter was supposed to alleviate. Is it supposed to get that last like it needs to be programmed, so it would have had my programmer full time on that, and I could have taken off the debts, and I could have just focused fully on the marketing of the project. Um, like because that's the problem is all my marketing for the project it's just here's an image from the game, here's a gif from the game. I would love to make like full-blown actual like character art and like things that draw you in and are unique,
Right.
but yeah, I'm not going to be able to really do that too much. So um yeah, we're gonna I've already talked to some people. It seems like we're gonna self-fund it, and there's a ton of publishers making us offers after what happened like after this event. So we might take one, who knows. But yeah, I definitely might have to because I'm like I'm like over $20,000 in
Oh
debt
my
from working
God.
on it,
I mean,
which
that's
that's a
well,
fraction of what I've put into it too, is the thing. So it's just wild.
it's all an investment, isn't that what they say? Following your dream and all that.
Yeah, well, I'm
And
hoping that
I
the quality speaks for itself. Like
exactly.
Yeah, like I hope it feels like a AAA game, because with the amount of money spent on it, kind of is. But you know, you guys haven't even experienced the best of it. Like, I don't even think you could even say you experienced the game until you've at least been in the city. And even then, it's like the city is like it's kind of in an extent it is what you make it. Like, you could just blow through it and continue with the main story,
Mm.
or there's just so much you can do in it. Like, there's side missions, side battles. Like, I think we have over 9 or 10 battles, like unique ones. Uh, and like, one of the complaints I got is, oh, I don't see how the items are that useful. It seems very basic in what we gave. And I was trying to explain these to some of these people that that's because the later battles aren't, you know, in that. Like, the city battles, you're gonna have a character who can paralyze you, right? And what you're gonna want to do is, before he uses his paralysis move, you'll get items later on, like one of them's like handcuffs, which turns all of their red ones white,
Mm.
right? So like anything you would have to block on, you can now attack on for the next like 5 seconds, right? So you would want to keep using items on that before he uses his paralysis move on you. Or there's one of the things is, with those mushrooms, we might be adding poison status effect too. So one of the items you have to add to your inventory is like a antidote.
Right.
And there's even other enemies like that move. I don't know if you got the move where there's that book on the table called Crotch Crater, or if you know how to equip it, but that's a move. It does 50% more damage to male characters and
Oh,
50%
that's cute.
less to female characters. So that's even a special item you might want to, like, you know, it's a move you might want to apply with certain battles. And there's just so much. Like, there's even enemies where your goal isn't even to attack them, it's to outlast them in the battle. So you want to use more healing items and
Mhm.
defense items. So there's all the RPG qualities are still there. It's just the demo didn't offer or what I put out there didn't offer those like the city
Right.
does.
It's
So
very small look into the whole of it.
A
yeah.
vertical
Yeah.
slice.
If
Exactly.
anything, yeah, if anything, it just showed off the effectiveness of the dialogue system, like
Mm.
how characters can actually interact with each other, hug each other, jump onto objects and off objects, and just like
Mm.
absolutely crazy things.
Draw a little piece of doo-doo, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was nice. All right, and are you planning on having any support for the game post-launch outside of the final away from home finished product, or is that after that, are you planning on doing like you were saying, moving on to other games, trying to become an independent publisher, everything of that sort?
Yeah, there is other projects I'm gonna work on after Away from Home. I actually have a whole list of them.
Hmm.
Which I gotta say, that list I've been making for 2 years, and I I was talking to my programmer about this just the other day. Uh, one of the things in that list is Pokemon with guns. I
Oh,
really
like
missed that one. I really should have done that one.
just
Pal
narrowly.
World, yeah, Pal
Hey, as long
World
as you
got to
promote
that
it
first.
with no AI, I think you'll have the edge.
Yeah, true, true.
Yeah.
Although on the
But
other hand, you did miss that gigantic lawsuit that they're now getting.
that's
Oh
true.
yeah.
That's true. They better win though. It would be ridiculous if they don't. I mean, we'll see
Yeah.
though.
For
But
your
yeah, I
sake.
got a whole list of game ideas, and I would love to do them. And what I'm thinking is, I'm just gonna be open to publishing people's games for them. Like handling marketing, and if they're good games, even backing them. Uh but alongside that, I'm gonna just be producing an insane amount of my own projects. Like, I'm even trying within the next 4 to 5 months to try and make 2 new small games. One of them's been on the back burner for a while. And then the other one's kind of like a horror game, because as I said, I finished I when I told you like I used to do everything, you know,
Mhm.
and figured I should focus on one thing. I decided to focus on two, but I focused on marketing and art. Uh So although I know how to program, I got a programmer who's way better than me that needs to finish programming the game. So in the meantime, I'll just be making a ton of art for all these other projects, which doesn't cost me money to do, but I'll have to pay them for the program stuff and whatnot. So
Right. You can tell us anything about the two smaller projects, or is that all top secret?
oh yeah. One of them is just like it's a basic horror game. It's like imagine Lavender Town or like oh, what's a good example? I guess Sonic.exe type thing. It
Hmm.
wouldn't be a gory like that or anything, but it's more so you got a game that's like creepy pasta-esque. I'm gonna have like this TV, like a 3D world landscape with this TV, and you're gonna be playing the game on it late at night, and I'm gonna have a mechanic where your character can actually turn around behind them and look, and you'll have like I'll have a 3D bedroom and everything. But I feel like playing it like that will be really cool because you'll have that constant feeling watched
Hmm.
vibe while playing
Like
the
a
game.
like a gamer from WarioWare.
Oh yeah.
Which
Gotta
one?
watch out for
Love it.
in the WarioWare. You
Right.
gotta play the games. Gotta watch out for mom coming in after you.
Right,
That was on
right.
the
Yeah,
Wii
yeah,
U.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah,
that
yeah.
one. Yeah, yeah. I remember that. Yeah, yeah, so it'd be kind of like that, only it's not like in this case your mom wouldn't be walking in. It's like the horror vibe while you're playing this game that's getting more and more horror-esque and corrupted. It's just so cool. I can make ambience of like a creak happen behind you, and the
Hmm.
player, whoever's playing will be like, "What the fuck?" And you like, turn back. And eventually, I could make something happen too with the horror thing. But I was imagining I'll just make like a haunted game, and my idea with the little story is something along the lines of you so some character or some lady died uh while playing this game or favorite game, your classic creepy
Right.
pasta thing, right? But the idea is they can't leave that little game world, and they'll slowly kind of like build this warm-uppy bond with you, and then they'll try and convince you that though they can't leave, you can join them in their little world, and all they would need you to do is kill yourself or die,
Right.
right?
Right.
Hmm.
Classic like
So
hero
then if
Brian situation.
yeah, and if you
Yeah.
don't do it, she's gonna try and kill you, sort of thing. And yeah, there's it's gonna be along those lines. And then the other one, there's this very obscure game, and there's no way you guys are gonna know about it. But if you do, like
Hmm.
extra points.
You
But
try
there's
us.
this old game. I think it was for the Game Boy called Drill Dozer.
Oh yeah,
Oh,
we know
yeah,
Drill
but yeah,
Dozer.
of course.
Really?
Yeah,
Wow. Okay, well, I'm
we're
making
old.
a. Yeah, you're really old because, like, no, I'm kidding. But Drill Dozer, I swear, you're first people I've met that know about that game, because that's not even like a super famous one. That's like kind of just like a small, like I don't even know if you could say it even has a
Yeah,
subgroup.
that's
Like,
was it Jill, right? The little pink haired girl?
yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
One of the
Wow,
few Game Boy Advance games with the Rumble Pack.
that's right.
wow. Yeah, that's
Yeah,
crazy.
no, we're gamer freaks.
Yeah, you wow. Okay. Well, yeah, I'm making a PC version of Drill Dozer that will be like it's a unique game.
All
My
right,
idea is
nice.
it'll be like it's gonna be really wacky, but it's like you're this alien planet that's getting invaded by other aliens, and they're coming to your planet to drill for your resources, and you get backwards engineer their bots and have to fight their drill bots with your own, right? So
Oh,
Nice, yeah.
that's neat. It could be like a
yeah,
cool arcade kind of game.
yeah, it will be like a very arcade kind of game.
You
So
gotta get
yeah.
the person who does the OST to try and make it like Go Ichinose, because that's like one of his best soundtracks.
Oh yeah, tell me that again. I could like write that down.
Go
Like,
Ichinose.
All right, sounds good. I will actually look
Yes,
into that.
I've done
well,
coffee.
all time
Go
great soundtracks.
Ichinose. Yes. No, it's no, that sounds like a lot of fun. So that'll be good to see those little projects while after Home is initially released. And leaving off, do you have any words of wisdom for a prospective game developer? Anyone trying to get into this business?
Yep. And it's something I'm doing 8 years into it that I should have been doing 8 years ago. Make a ton of small games before doing your big project. And the reason is one, it just gets you a ton of notoriety, and there's always returning people that like what you make from every project you make. And two, there's my biggest thing, and I even mentioned this earlier, is I restarted this game 5 times. Right? I've nearly finished and restarted it 5 times because of being like, oh, the art's bad. Oh, I want to change these mechanics, you know. And those are all 5 games I could have made. Those are like all the art was pretty much done every single time, and I could have launched those and had like a big name already. But because I kept restarting, um, that's all just wasted art, wasted music, wasted assets. And if you're making, the reason I had to scrap it so much is I got better at coding, and I got better at art, and I got better at ideas and writing as I got older. As I mentioned, I started this 8 years ago. So with each year, I'd look back at what I made a year ago and be like, oh, this is garbage. What was
Right.
I thinking?
I can't
Right?
release this.
Exactly. So like it wasn't even till like this version of the game has actually only been in development for 3 years. Right? But all the whole game as a whole being developed has been 8 years. But every single iteration of the game could have been its own game if I just decided to do a small project and just finish each, you know. But
On the other
you know,
hand, presumably this is your dream game, right?
yeah, it is. But that's the issue is I started with my dream game first, and it's something you should do after you already have attention. Like, you know, Deltarune is technically Toby Fox's dream game. Undertale wasn't even his dream game.
What a statement too that
I
is.
know. I know. It's like
Now,
you
Undertale,
get
that
the
little
idea.
piddling little quick cash grab I made, yeah, I only made that to get the Deltarune, okay?
Exactly. And that's kind of the thing is that's what you got to do. I mean, the another thing is success with these games isn't actually like it's not actually a luck thing to an extent. It is somewhat predictable. To the extent of its success is luck, but like Toby Fox, a lot of people don't know this, and I'm surprised they don't. He worked on Homestuck
Oh,
before
I'm
Undertale.
well
Yep.
aware, yeah.
Exactly. Like he was bound to be a
Megalovania is
success.
a Homestuck song.
Megalovania
Yeah,
is actually an Earthbound song.
Oh yeah, you're right.
there you got you on
Earthbound
that one.
hack or
Yeah.
whatever.
Yeah, the Halloween
Hmm.
Earthbound thing. But yeah, that's the thing. It's about you know, making other projects and then gaining notoriety around your name. And then once you do that, you launch a project, and all the notoriety you have will like domino effect and create this
All right.
snowball rolling down
Indie
the hill.
developers, go back in time and work on Homestuck.
He what he said.
Yeah.
But yeah, just make a ton of small games. Like limit yourself to a year per project. Make it each game you make is a minimum of make it between 30 minutes to 2 hours. Aim for 2 hours, and if you can't, just also format your games that you could cut out content at any time. Like add like 3 levels that are entertaining but you know can be cut out, because for me I had to cut out a ton of levels, and
Hmm.
uh luckily they weren't so pivotal, but you know, to an extent I couldn't cut out a single thing more than I already have in terms of areas. Like there's an entire maze area in my game I had to remove because lack of time to work on it. Would be just so much more development to finish it. So
Right. I think that takes us to the end of our interview here. So, all you listening, make sure you wishlist the game on Steam. Make sure you play the demo on Newgrounds. And where can the listeners find you outside of that? Steam, Newgrounds, Twitter, anywhere else?
yeah, I'm on pretty much everything, but I don't, you know, I'm most active on Twitter, and as of recent Blue Sky. and Instagram would be my most active, but I do technically have a Facebook, Reddit, and uh like YouTube. So
All
yeah.
right, yeah. So all those down below, follow those and get to see cool new sprite animations and updates on the game as they come out.
We'll
And
catch you
be
there.
yeah, be shocked and amazed. And as always, you can find us in all the below linked links for me. You can find Raccoons on his YouTube channel with his beautiful reviews that'll make you smile so wide that your lips tear open and bleed. And yeah, I think with that we can pretty much close it out. Any parting words from any of you guys? Anything you want to leave everyone with before we end this one?
You have a very podcasty voice.
Is that a compliment or an insult?
That's a compliment.
Thanks. Thank you. I
Very
worked.
like I can imagine the ASMR like popping bubble wrap as you're
Now
talking
that's
into the
now
mic.
that's an idea. Maybe we should do that instead of this gaming crap.
Yeah, this
Maybe some,
Maybe you
conversation is
do.
like that made me think a lot more about marketing.
yeah.
Yeah,
So
yeah. Sorry, I'm very very logistically oriented.
no, that's
It does apply to you guys genuinely. Like the podcasting is in the complete same sphere when it comes to like advertising and marketing. Like, sorry, it sucks I can't give a solution, but if you got a post that got 10,000 views, it's not gonna convert. There's a missing link to that.
that's
So
fine. Yeah. Well, I
yeah,
mean, the main thing for us, we're just trying to spread the word of the games we like and try and make you guys, get some more attention because we're trying to really just kind of, in our own way, shift the gaming world towards looking at actually good and interesting games. So having you on here, having the actual developers on here is really great, and I feel like really contributes towards that. So,
yeah, it's
thanks
awesome.
thanks for coming on.
Oh, thanks for having me. And I'm down to come on any other time. Like
Oh
who
yeah,
knows,
we
maybe when I'm make my next two projects, I'd be
yeah, for
down to
sure. When
return.
the game comes out, next demo's out, you just want to chat, whatever. You're welcome on anytime.
Yeah, I have to say too, I liked your guys' marketing idea of the little paper
Oh, thanks. Yeah,
thing.
I can't draw, so I was going for like a Napoleon Dynamite kind of thing.
Yeah,
The t
yeah, it was pretty cool. Yeah, it gave off like a Napoleon vibe.
good, good, good.
One thing I'd recommend too, if you ever want to switch it up, me like lean over and grab this real quick. Yeah, I'm on my desk is my bed, by the way.
No problem. It's all the
That's
greats.
efficiency. Yeah.
All the greats do
Yeah.
that.
I have this bad boy. It's like
What
an old
is
TV, right? Like something like this would be so cool to like advertise podcasts on for old video games. Like you put like a title for it on here.
Oh yeah, like a VHS or something.
Yeah, yeah. And
Yeah,
this even has the flickering effect and everything.
maybe I'll steal that.
Yeah, like that's just something I was thinking about because the format you advertise in. I'm like, oh, that would work too.
Yeah, you want to join the Video Dish production squad? I think we got a place for you. No problem. All right. No, that's good. Thanks.
Yeah.
Raccoons, anything you want to go off with, or you just like end this goddamn, let me go home.
No, I'm actually gonna go play away from home.
Whoa!
Oh, perfect. Okay, well, as always, we've been Video Ditch with Cameron, Squishy, Squished Y, and Raccoons. I'm, as always, Nicholas, or somebody stop me. Thanks for listening, and keep on gaming in the free world.